What up, y'all? We back at it. Got my man Haas in here. We live in effect. Today we're gonna talk about building that empire and talking about getting our cash game right, our dating life dialed in, your relationships. Of course, make sure you got your fitness on point. So I'll start off with a little story, and Haas, get your thoughts on this too. But I had a young guy reach out to me recently, and he was like, I struggle being focused. Like I have these things I want to do, but I just lose focus along the way. And so I was like, well, you got to have a goal that you're willing to walk through flames to get there for. And then he was like, I have goals. And I was like, no, you missed the key part. Everybody you walk by has goals, but the people who have a burning desire to reach the goal are the ones that are actually going to get there. Like that's the key difference. And so it was like, oh, well, like, how do I do that? And so we talked about the concept of like emotional leverage, which, he was rightfully so. I was like, well, what's that? And so I kind of explained how you're getting your emotions wrapped around the reward system and also the punishment system. If I don't do it, what's my life going to look like? And I shared some examples of like what I do. Like I go deep down these like rabbit holes of, man, if I do this, if I live this way, this is how this is going to look. If I don't do this, fuck, this is what's going to feel like. And I kind of like literally feel that energy. And I think that kind of opened his eyes a little bit. And he's like, damn, all right, like that makes sense. Because that's the key difference is focus. That's what you're fighting for at the end of the day is focus. Focus the attention towards the life that you want, the life that you want to create. And then that kind of led into some of my sessions I had even this week with, I had a couple clients who were like talking to me about transitioning in their life. Like, man, I don't know if I want to do more of this or less of that. And I reminded them that we're always reverse engineering the life that we desire because that's the only way you can connect those emotions. If not, we just settle for status quo. And so that's what separates us between the robots is our emotions. So you have to get those emotions charged in the right direction.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And that's fucking epic. I'm trying to think like, okay, so there's two things here, right? Focus and setting goals. You already talked about the carrot and the stick, right? You want to have a carrot at the end of it. You want to also have the stick. And yes, emotional leverage is fucking epic. And look, you have to be sort of proactive on how you create that. Don't just wait for a situation in your life to give you the carrot and the stick and like motivate yourself. You need to find creative ways to motivate yourself to want to achieve the goals that you're going after. Okay. There's many tricks for that. Actually, I started listening to like, motivation audios on YouTube just to give myself like that little boost of like, oh, okay, here we go. You can do things like that. That's perfectly okay. Okay, and I know a lot of people talk about discipline. It's like, oh yeah, I got to be disciplined. Fuck motivation. Well, the thing is, man, not every like look, discipline is also a skill set that builds over time. So then you're not going to be disciplined overnight. No, but here's the beauty about motivation: you can get motivated overnight. You know what I'm saying? So use motivation to help you to give you that an initial energy boost to start building the right habits. And the right habits will give you the right discipline. And, you know, we all have the same amount of willpower. It's not that other people that are disciplined have more willpower than you. It's just that they've used their willpower strategically. They've taken their willpower and they've just done the right things long enough to where those things became a habit, like brushing your teeth. Remember when you were a kid, your mom would tell you to brush your teeth. You're like, no, I don't want to do it. And then it's like you do it every day. Now it's like, okay, I wake up. It's like you don't even think about it. Okay. Something difficult that now became a habit simply because you decided that this is going to be something that I'm going to be doing for the long term. So, I always, because I used to be the victim of this, the victim, right? I used to be like, oh, I'm not disciplined. Fuck. How do I like, be disciplined? No, it's like, if you're not disciplined, don't be ashamed. Use short-term motivation to get you to do the right habits. And just because you've been doing the right habits, it's going to feel like your day's going to feel off if you don't continue doing them. It's like brushing your teeth. It's like imagine if you started your day without brushing your teeth. It's like you kind of feel off. You're like, "Oh, I shouldn't brush my teeth." Fuck. It's like, "Oh, I didn't hit the gym today. What the hell?" Like you're going to be like you're going to feel off and it's going to you just curate your ecosystem, your environment, and your habits. Habits are the keys here to getting to your goals. There's another point I wanted to make. You were talking about something. There's a point I wanted to make. talked about, having emotional leverage, and after that, you said something. You mentioned something. I'm trying to think.
The carrot and the stick, getting yourself emotionally geared towards the goal, building the life that you want.
Oh man. Okay, it'll come to me. It'll come to me.
It's all
It's
good.
fine. But that was the point. Like,
Mhm.
there's another one I was gonna say. Oh, but that's what I'm talking about.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
here's the thing. Like, you want to be able to, you want to categorize your goals as well, and especially if it's like if you're trying to increase your focus, that's what it is. Okay, we're talking about focus. Okay, so we've covered the goal and having a carrot and stick. Now let's talk about focus. Um, and with the focus, it's like it's not that you don't have focus; it's that you have more distractions than you have focus. I think it was like Jerry Seinfeld or like a comedian who he made a rule where he was like, okay, I'm gonna write for 2 hours every day. So he would lock himself in a room, um, and even if let's say he didn't feel like writing, he didn't want to write, he was not allowed to do anything else other than just sit in that room for 2 hours. Or if you could do anything else, he'd only be able to write. So there's no phones, there's nothing else. So it's like nothing else in the room, just his paper and him. So he's
mhm,
stuck there. He's in detention for 2 hours, let's say. So the only thing he can do is write. So within the 2 hours that he's there, it's like, okay, either write or be bored. Okay. So this is what it means to eliminate distractions. Okay. Ask yourself, what are my distractions? Be simple things like going on my phone for like 10 minutes to check like Instagram. I'm guilty of that. And then Troy called me out the other day, so I gotta I gotta cut that down. I'm like, I'm looking at my numbers and my reels. I'm like, oh look, 300 views. Oh my god. And so he's like, dude, stop looking at that. I'm like, oh, okay.
mhm,
It gets addicting. You got to be aware of like what things are you're getting like dopamine from,
mhm,
and this is really the key here is to eliminate the distraction because you have enough focus. It's not that you don't have focus; you have too much distractions, and it's
mhm,
like eating away at your focus.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think um, what I'm feeling into as well is I want to be authentic with our own journeys through this, right? Because I don't want someone to feel like I'm talking at you. I want you to know that I also have these challenges. I am part of this, right?
Yeah.
And what works for me, and there's things that don't work for me, right? But what works for me is spending time really getting wrapped around those like key moments in life that really have meaning and realizing like that's where the magic exists. Like I remember I had a friend once that was like he's like, I bet you remember that hike we went on more than you remember your entire week.
Mm.
And I like sat there, I'm like, fuck, I do. Like the normal just kind of like blends and life just kind of goes by. And so I'll use little carrots like that or little moments like that to increase my leverage over myself. Much of life is gaming yourself, not beating the
Ooh.
game out there. It's like
Yes.
beating the internal game. Like,
Yes.
where are my own stuck points? Where's my own shit that I get trapped up in? That's why meditation is so powerful, is because you're learning to witness your own thoughts, your own
Mm.
mind, your own energy, where you get like, where you beat yourself down, where you're too harsh on yourself, where maybe you're not harsh enough with yourself, where you're, being distracted. You're giving way to those distractions. It's kind of like video games, right? Like one of the things I always say about video games is like, I love video games. That's why I don't own any. Like I know myself, right? Like if I have a video game, it's too easy to be like, oh, let's do this. I ain't got it like that in life. I got responsibilities, I got goals, I got things that I want to do. So I don't spend time engaging with the video game. But if it's close by, I might. So it's not close by.
Yeah.
Same thing with my house. I don't have any desserts. I don't have any treats in my house. Why not? Because I have to consciously go make the decision to go eat them. Now I do from time to time, I'll go do that, but I'm consciously aware of it. So I'm setting up an environment around myself to create and make it easier to be disciplined towards achieving what I want in life.
Yeah. And I do the thing that everybody up. Like literally, dude. If you know, like the masses, you know, there's us, the special chosen ones, the favorites of God. You know, there's us, right? And then there's the rest of the humans, you know, the rest of the population, you know. The reason why they
Right,
fail their goals, not us, we're
right,
chosen.
right.
They fail their goals is because they don't have the proper environment. You know, they might have aspirations, but when I say environment, I'm saying things in your control. Look, there's some people that are just fucked. They're just like, oh, I'm fucking stuck in inner city Chicago, freaking O Block. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's people like that. They're stuck. You know, and it sucks. You know, they're in that environment and they're just stuck there. However, when I mean like environment, I mean what's in your control. Simple things like keeping that food table clean with no cupcakes. You know, because when the cupcake is there and you're trying to lose weight, it's like burning willpower, fighting it, just fighting the urge. You're like, you know. So environment, and I think this is why the rest of the humans, not us, the rest of the humans, you know, uh, we're very humble. We're very humble in this podcast. You know, the rest of the humans fail, not us. You know, because we know to not have our.
It's easy for us.
It's easy for us. You know, 'cause we're the champs. uh, whoever's listening to this, they're like these fucking guys are clowns. No, but like seriously though, like you gotta curate that environment. You gotta have the right people around you, and especially this actually brings a really good point. Environment, which also includes the right people, right? One of the harsh experiences you're gonna have is like as you're like learning stuff, as you're getting better, you're gonna have people that are like, you know, that are your friends and stuff, want to like compete with you in this weird like low vibration energy. It's like competition. So as soon as you sense that, you just got to be like, cut, done. Got to distance yourself so far because that competitive energy, you know, people are like, yeah, that'll motivate you. Competition is good and blah, blah, blah. Look, it's good short term, whatever, but long term, that's not an energy you want to be around
Nah.
because that's not an encouraging place to be. Because if somebody's, it just like, it's just designed to like poke at your ego in like every way and you're kind of being reactive and you're doing things out of ego, you're taking drastic measures, and it's just like you're just very ungrounded, like you're not grounded in your decision making. So you know, I come from the frame is that there is no competition, it's all collaborative. I'm here to build with my friends, I'm here to have a good time, I'm here to do this together, let's raise the boats together. So it's like more of a togetherness for me than this like competitive energy. And this is the same reason I think relationships fail too. Like their spouse and their husbands are like in a competition. And like people that do that, I just like, dude, what you guys married? Why are you doing that? Like what are you trying to prove? Or you guys have been together for like this, you live together. Why are you competing? Why aren't you just being a team? You know, so you know, environments, distractions, people, you know, making sure you have the right positive people around you that encourage you, that tell you that you're fucking up. Hey, do this, do that. You know, they correct you on like yes, man, but you want people that are your peers. You want mentors, and you want somebody below you that you can kind of show things to. The reason being is when you learn stuff, you teach it to someone, you learn it twice. You know,
Mhm.
so those are all keys to like trying to get to your goals. Because if you just have your goals and don't do this other background work, this is like you could even say this is the game outside of the game. Like let's say the game is this, there's a game being played outside of that, right? And outside of that, you got to make sure you have a positive ecosystem, which we just talked about: environment, friends, hobbies, etc., etc. And then you need to make sure that you are in charge of your own positive emotion. You are in charge of that. Okay. And this probably was a subject we're gonna go into later, is how people learn to be confident the wrong way. You know, and the reason we go into that because you're gonna need to have confidence. You're gonna go accomplish goals and be more focused. Okay, confidence is the ingredient. Okay, whether we, I know that word's been thrown around everywhere and people don't really know what it is. It's like, oh, are you just a bold person? You're just a bold guy and you just go in head first. Is that what confidence is? That's an element of it, but that's not really what confidence to me is. Confidence to me is like, you know, your fucking house is on fire, your fucking the boats are burned, there's no way back, and then you just have this presence in you that you know that you're gonna make it. That's what I think confidence is. Anybody can be confident in their best day, but when your fucking house is on fire, the boats are burned, and everything's just gone to shit, and then you're like, at the end of it, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get out of this shit because I'm that guy. That's
Mhm.
to me what confidence means.
Mhm.
And there's the right way of building that, and then there's also the wrong way of building that. You'll know the people that build it the wrong way because when the shit hits the fan, they crumble. They go into like a death spiral. They go into a downward spiral. I see this a lot, especially because we live in a small town right now, right? You'll see people that move out of the big cities to these small towns, like especially you go to the gym, and you just know this person, he was the shit wherever he came from, but he went on this like downward spiral. You can tell it because the energy he carries. You know what I mean? He or she carries. Like they'll tell you, like, yeah, I was in LA. I lived there for a while. My girlfriend cheated on me, and like things just went out of control. I started doing drugs, and it was a bad environment. I just had to move. I had a conversation with a guy like that recently, talking about how his girl like fucked his whole life up for like they were together for 5 years, et cetera, et cetera. And now he's back in a small town. His downward spiral. It's like moments like that. If you're a truly confident man, you'd be able to set new goals, focus, and then go back out there. You know,
Mhm.
um, and that's really the game, honestly.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. There's a few, you went through a few different topics there, but like one of the ones I can grab on is the confidence concept. And um, it's, you have to think, I always look at like, where is confidence being birthed from? Right. And I don't know, like what I know in my life, like I wasn't instilled with this golden confidence. Like,
Mm.
my upbringing wasn't like, hey, you're the shit and you're awesome. And so most of us, I believe, we kind of look outside of ourselves. We're looking
Yes,
for others to see if we're allowed to be confident.
yes,
And I know that's the journey I went on, and that led to like typical male escapades and attempts at what I thought was
escapades.
what it meant to be a man. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, um, and I guess there was some value in that. Like, I remember feeling more confident in myself, but it was still building a castle on shaky sand because I wasn't fully like, um, it was a house of cards still because it was external, it was outside of me.
Yes.
And real confidence, kind of the point you were making, is when you go through challenging things in life and difficult seasons, then that actually prepares you for the steps ahead in the journey. And that's like when you overcome things, you get that first person reference experience. Like, I've gone through this, I've done this. And then when life presents you with something similar, you're like, I've done it again. I used to do that in boxing. Like, I had this goal where I would train in a way, in a manner that I eliminated all doubts. And so
Yes.
when the moment came, when the fight came, like my mind couldn't even access that I would lose.
Mm.
And I would come in there with like literally like this very euphoric type of energy. Like,
Yeah.
this is the fucking moment. Let's go. Like, it's all fucking peaking at the right time. And that's really powerful.
Can I ask you a question? Like,
Yeah.
when you got into that mode,
Hmm.
what was like for you in your mind? What did you feel like you had put on the line? Like, what did you feel like if I don't, it's like burning the boats, right? Like, what did you put on the line for you, like in your mindset? Even at that age, like for you, what was it? It's like do or die, or what was going through your head?
Yeah, good question. I think in that particular arena, it was not wanting to be embarrassed in front of
Mm.
others. And so boxing is a sport where you can go out and like, you can get KO'd and that's it. You know what I mean? 15
Mm.
seconds. And just that feeling of like, fuck that, and then just really feeling into, I wanted to feel the energy of winning, dude. Like, let's fucking, that feels way better. I want to win. I want to fucking crush it, move on. I want the
Yeah.
after party. I want to fucking hold the belt type vibes.
Yeah.
And, but the way I would create that energy is I would do what I felt like was the maximum of what other people would do. And then I went beyond that.
Mm.
So like it was almost like like let's say you're studying for a fucking test. You're like, well, I don't think anyone else is going to study more than 4 hours a day. And then I would do that, and then I would do extra. I'd go do an extra half hour, like whatever, extra hour. But for me, that was actually like running the mountain behind my house, training and lifting weights. It was like doing all the normal things and extra. And so in my mind, I was like, ain't no one gone down this road. No one's traveled like I've traveled.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Right?
Okay. That makes sense. Dude, that's actually really good.
Yeah, that was the edge. I'm like,
damn.
All right, like try me, homie. Like, what are you gonna do? I fucking look, bro. I trained so hard that the match was the reward.
Yeah.
Like
the
thing, right?
Yeah. Like the path was difficult, and for you, you're like, okay, you've hit this thing where it's like it got really difficult, and you're like, I got to do this thing, I got to overcome it, because when you actually do the harder thing, it becomes a filter for other people. It's like you don't think like, oh man, look at all the hard shit I did. You kind of feel bad for other people. Oh, look at what they're gonna have to do.
Yes.
And it's like that's a good feeling because oftentimes everybody likes to take shortcuts. You know what I mean? Everybody likes to like find tricks and like weird things to do, whatever they, boxing aside, but anything even boxing, man, fuck shit. Like in any endeavor, like people just want to take shortcuts because they're hooked. They're hooked on the outcome. And then while you were like, you know what, the match, I want to be at the match. I want to get the match. I want to be there. I want to just not embarrassed, but it made you more process oriented. That made you more focused while you were in the ring versus people that are just like, oh, I need to like get the win and get the money, and I need to like show off or whatever for like the weird the reasons that are not like, let's say, for the inner growth, right? It's more like showing off to other people.
Bro,
and like
there it is. Dude, that's it. Like, look, dude, we have like here in Reno, there's these local MMA fights, right? That would be equivalent to the boxing matches that I used to do when I was growing up, right?
Yeah.
Now they're mostly MMA. Dude, most of those guys actually suck. Okay, no offense to any of y'all who do them, but most of you guys suck.
I have some friends that do.
Yeah, bro. And look, dude, respect for going and doing it.
Yeah.
But this is why they
suck.
You're
right, though. You're right.
I'm gonna tell you why. But this is why they suck. Okay, is because they want the glory. They want to be like, oh, I did an MMA fight, more than they actually want to be good.
Yeah, they want the clout. They want the clout of like, oh, I did an MMA fight instead of like actually winning. Yeah.
And here's why. Here's what happens is they end up only having 1 or 2 fights. Like they get in there, they get the glory or this perceived glory, but they're actually not good compared to like some other guys that you and I know who are actually really good. Like, like our buddy Joey, he's gone through, he's very good, but because he went through all the phases of like actually being good, right? Versus just the clout. Like I'm sure the clout's part of it, but it's like that in your professional life and the different things that you do. Like most people pursue the clout. They want the prestige. They do it for others. And you're going to be like those MMA fighters, dude. You're not going to be good because you won't endure the process, what it takes to actually be good, because you're not going to get the clout. You're going to find out it's not as cool as you think.
Yeah.
It's look, as someone, okay, even in sports, those moments felt good, but this is what you learn when you do something like that. You spend 6 months fucking training like a freak, right? I mean, I'm not saying like real training, bro, like real training, dude. Like the level of fucking focus to like prepare for an actual match where you might lose your consciousness is different, right? And then you go in there and it goes down and you win. It's amazing. Your friends celebrate, all that stuff. Guess what happens Monday morning? Everyone goes back to work. Everyone goes to school.
Resets, yep.
And no one talks to you. No one. They're in their own world, and you're just sitting there. And it's quiet, and all of it's gone away, and fucking. It's very sobering. Yeah. Very sobering. But so that's the point. Is you have that's life. So like when you put the social media post, let's say it does go viral. Guess what? No one's fucking talking about it the next day. Most people actually won't care. Most people actually probably not like you. They'll hate you. They'll feel jealous. Like anything outside of yourself, any vanity metrics will turn back and they'll poison your journey, dude. And like, again, not that it doesn't feel good. right?
So big. Yep.
Yeah,
Dude, like honestly, like that really is the fucking thing. Like, and here's the crazy part. Here's the thing that's really crazy. Like all those things, like let's say you do it for the ego and the glory and the vanity reasons. Let's say you do all those things to show off all the things we said not to do, right? The danger is that it can work. You can
Mhm.
get the glory of doing that. You can win doing that. But now what's happened? What's happened? What happened is that you've basically trained your mind to get hooked on
Yes,
people's validation. You trained your
yes.
mind to get hooked on the outcome. So it's like a dirty needle. Like imagine like heroin addicts. There's two types of addicts. There's like imagine your brother or something. It's like he's in like the fucking tunnel doing heroin with a dirty needle in his arm, and you're
Yes.
like running up to him like, brother, what are you doing? Take the dirty needle off of your arm. Here's a clean needle. Here's a clean
Mhm.
needle. But he's already stuck the dirty needle in his arm. So when you do things for vanity reasons, when you do things for the outcome, it's like metaphorically sticking the dirty needle in your arm. And the
Mhm.
whole work, the whole journey that you go on after that is the process of taking the dirty needle out and putting a clean needle in your arm.
Mhm.
And the clean needle is the is presence work, is staying positive. It's uh it's learning to feel good within. It's doing it for the process itself. It's coming from a higher frequency, higher vibration. That's the clean needle. Okay,
Mhm.
there's like if you're gonna choose to addict yourself onto something, choose to addict yourself to the clean needle, not the dirty high heroin needle, because it can feel good. They both feel good. The clean needle just takes time. It's instant. Like there's the instant gratification. Oh, I got the validation, approval. I'm the fucking shit. And then there's the hard work, discipline. Nobody knows what you're doing. You've been working for 6 months, and then boom, 6 months
Mhm.
of work built up into one moment.
Mhm.
And now people see that, and now it's like a now that's a
Mhm.
better feeling because you went through the process. It's a longer thing. It's like withstanding or withholding instant gratification, you
Mhm.
know. And that's like the whole fucking thing, dude. And that's one of those things you just got to keep coming back to. And we're talking about the dating thing, right? Like guys will learn confidence the right and wrong ways, you know. And I've made this mistake a lot in my life where I would learn to be confident. And what I would try to do is, as I'm getting more confident, I would try to match that with like enhancing who I am, like as far as like my image, right? And it's fine to look good for yourself. It's
Mhm.
fine to do the things that you want to do and like have money and do all those things. But you need to be aware how those things are affecting your confidence because you want to ask yourself, can you have that same level of confidence if you know, didn't have all those things? And if the answer is yes, then you're doing it the right way. You know, if you're doing it from the place of like, oh, wanting approval, validation, and enhancing how you think and look, whatever, right? What it does is, again, it can work. Like those things work. We see it all the time. We go to the clubs, we see a dude that's like, okay, he's putting some effort, he got his fucking shit on, you know, and he's like got his swagger, whatever it is, even though it's phony, it's fake, it's inauthentic. Um, it can work to some degree. Maybe not to the woman he wants to get, but there will be a woman out there that might find that cool and they might, you know, hook up, whatever, right? And that's the danger is the fact that he does get rewarded for that. Even though it's not what he wants, it's something, right? And he
Mhm.
does get rewarded for those types of behaviors. Now what's happened is the night he goes after, like let's say he does get laid and then he'll go out again the next night. And now it's like, let's say people didn't think he was cool. Let's say nobody liked his style. You know, let's say that nobody thought it was like, okay, I'm not into that. And then people just started rejecting him. Now he's lost all control. He's lost all power because he was drawing his confidence from an external source. It was never from within to begin with, right? So that's what the danger is of learning confidence the right way versus the wrong way. You want to learn to be confident, and this goes into what we were talking about with the boxing and the taking the dirty needle out of your arm. Uh, you want to learn the confidence the right way. It's like being confident at the core. It's like it's almost like you're naked with your confidence, meaning that metaphorically and literally, if you were naked, you would still be the same person. You know,
Mhm.
um, I think that's like that's a path nobody talks about anymore, especially today, because all you see out there are just these red pill content. Even the shows that are going viral, it's so like so superficial and surface level. Oh, it's like pop the balloon. I didn't like the way your shoes look. Blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
It's like, dude didn't even talk to you yet. Let him get a
Mhm.
sentence out. Or like the woman hasn't even said anything. You know, it's like we're all just like so superficial. It's like it's gotten worse. You know, if you
Mhm.
thought Hollywood was bad, the internet era's made it even worse. You
Mhm.
know, and it's more important that you learn to be confident at the core these days. It's more important because nobody else is. It's like it's not being taught. The opposite is being taught, and the opposite is being pushed in front of you 24/7. It's like, oh, look like this, look like that, and then do this and do that. It's like, no, man. Like you need to go back to timeless principles that have worked for thousands of years. Your ancestors were using these
Mhm.
principles. You know, like caveman were using these principles. You know, you need to snap out of the illusion because that is what the conditioning is. You know, it's like some dude like pushing like what the fads are or what the fashion trends are. It's like baggy pants. My sister's like, "Why don't you wear baggy pants? Why don't you wear baggy pants?" I'm like, I set the standards. I'm like, I'm not gonna wear baggy pants. Fuck out of here. I set the standards, you know? So it's like originality, you know? If everybody's wearing baggy pants and that's the style, and you're like, okay, gotta match. Fuck that. Wear what you want to wear. Stick to your guns as a dude, right? Have that inner fucking confidence that nobody can take away from you. You know, everybody can be confident when they're, their best. Like, oh, my best shirt, my a lot of money in my fucking bank, all this shit. Anybody can be that confident when they have all the things. It's like, what? How confident are you when you don't have those things? You know, that's the real fucking test. That's when you know who you really are. You know, yeah. So sorry, I went on a big rant there because I'm going through shit, man. I'm just trauma dumping right now. Sorry.
Trauma dumping.
Trauma dumping.
Um, let me back up just a tad
Yeah, yeah,
to like like where you're building that foundation from
yeah,
in
yeah.
terms of you could call it motivation, inspiration, moving towards what you want to create in life. And I use kind of that boxing example.
Yeah.
Well, one is again, it's probably a cocktail of a few things, right? So it's not that I and I don't think you would either. I would tell someone like, it's not that you can't be motivated to hold the belt, hold the money, have the fancy car. Like that can be very good, right? Like
Yes.
grab some motivation from those things. But what I would say is, it's like the analogy that comes to mind is like you're doing it so other people see you versus my family comes from poverty. I grew up in poverty and I'm fucking sick of it. And I never want that to feel that shit again. I'll take this guy or girl any day over this guy,
Mm.
any day, because that's like deep. That's in your core. Like you're picturing like mom and dad struggling, the labor they went through, and so you want to be careful like where you're grabbing those inspirations from. And again, it's probably a cocktail, right? So some of it's up here. And again, yes, those things can work. But when you're having a day where it's shit's just not working, you're gonna have many of those days. Sometimes it won't be a day, it'll be a week, sometimes it'll be a month, sometimes it'll be months. It might be a couple of years. But if you're waiting for the other people to recognize you, they ain't gonna be there, dude. There's gonna be no rewards, there's no fancy car. So that person quits. But the other guy or gal who's like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just fucking chopping wood, baby. Like literally just chopping wood. You know what I mean? Like we coming. Like I'm building this shit. And one day this fucking tree is gonna fall over. Like that's kind of the spaces to build from. And I think that can even tie into the confidence thing, like you're talking about, is creating awareness around, where you're building your confidence from. Because this could go full circle, even is if my confidence comes from my victories and my success, those often happen few and far between. And so again, you're wiring your brain around the wrong reward system versus the consistent action. Like you want to find little moments where you just did the thing and you just say to yourself, I'm proud of you. Way to go. Way to go, Haas. Way to go, Troy. Like I did the thing. Fucking epic. Right?
Yeah, you're training your brain to get off the dirty needle. Yeah,
Yeah.
because when
Mhm.
you reward, when you say like when you do the thing and then you give yourself that props, it's telling your brain like, oh, okay, I didn't get my outcome, but I moved towards it and I
Yeah.
engaged in the process of it.
Mhm.
They took action. Okay, feel good from the action that you take,
Mhm.
not from the reward. Because then now you're always at the mercy. The reward is inconsistent. The
Right.
action is in your control, and you're consistent with it if you are. So you
Mhm.
can give yourself some good emotions.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Facts. Yeah. That's it. And so that, look, that was me when I was young boxing. It was like, okay, I trained. Fucking way to go. Shit. All right, let's go run the hill. Boom. Did that. I'll hit the weights. Okay. And you just do those little things like enough, right? And what that's doing is that's building up, your real confidence. Like you've done the things, you've taken the steps. And so when that moment comes, you're like, well, of course I'm going to perform. Like, of course I'm going to fucking crush it. You know what I mean? Versus if you're like, hey, look, everybody, here's my fucking, I'm in the gym. I'm fucking boxing. I got my gloves on. You know what I mean? Right?
Yeah.
Let's go. Hey, don't forget, show up fucking March 5th, Cinco de Mayo. I'll be there. Like I'm a boxer now. Like, and then when that moment comes, nerves,
Yeah.
right? Versus the other dude who's just been grinding. He's like, I got to feed my fucking family. I got to eat. You know what I mean? That dude's
Yeah,
going to
man.
devour, right?
Yeah, and it's like different energy too, right? Like
Yeah.
that guy's motivation is on a different paradigm.
Yes.
And it's like the paradigm like where it's like there is no competition. You're in such
Yes.
a high freaking,
Yes.
I don't know, high vibration, there is no competition. That's why I love to say things like, yeah, I don't like competing with people. I don't like having people
No.
around me that want to
No.
compete with me because I don't, that's not what I need. Like,
No.
I don't need that. There's no need
Same.
for that.
I don't give a fuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, why do we need to compete with each other? Let's just
Yes.
chill. Let's just do the thing. Let's just have fun.
Yes.
If our
Yes.
goals are aligning, if we want the same
Mhm.
things, let's just go do the thing. Why do you want to look like it's like weird? Again, it goes back to like these dirty fucking needles that you got in your arm. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, I want to get that cheap validation dopamine hit. Let me
Mhm.
look cool on the internet, I'm at the gym, or like, everybody's a victim to this. I do this all the time, but
Mhm.
it's not where you want to live, It's
Yeah.
fine for that for a little bit.
Mhm.
One of our mentors would say it's okay to be in your lower self. Use it
Mhm.
to motivate you, but
Totally.
you don't want to, you don't want to
Be
live
aware
there.
of it.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
awareness is the key,
Mhm.
and when you're aware of it, you're like, okay, I'm coming from this place. I need to shift it, the energy. I need to, like, if you're angry at someone, right? You just got to be like, all right, forgiveness, love.
Yeah.
I wish them well, and then you got to keep pushing. For
It's like
you,
an ex-girlfriend. You can be like, hey, like maybe she breaks up with you, she dumped you, she cheated on you. Part of your energy can be like, oh yeah, well, fuck you, right? But
yeah,
also at the same time, dude, you got to find like the forgiveness and the love and want her to win. You're like, you know what, dude? Like she helped me learn about myself, brought this, whatever. And you're
give
like,
you a favor,
yeah,
okay?
legit, bro. Like, all right, man, I appreciate you. Nothing but love. Hope you're happy. That will lighten up your energy. Because if you're just
Yeah.
coming from that low vibe, you're gonna be
Uh-huh.
like, you're gonna like take it out on the next girl you meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it'll be this low paradigm, and you're gonna attract somebody in that low paradigm as well. And it's like,
Dude,
nah, man, like that ain't it.
listen, man. Like, I don't look. You remember the story I was telling you about the dude that moved from Los Angeles? His girl cheated on him, whatever, right? That
Mhm.
dude went on a downward spiral, bro. Like, it's
Damn.
crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I remember the first like self-help guy I was listening to was this guy named like Bob Proctor. Rest in peace. He's
I remember
awesome.
Bob Proctor. Yeah.
Yeah, super dope. And he was
Old school.
talking about, dude. He was talking about concepts that I'd never like understood. And then I remember I read his book called The Art of Living. It's a small book. It's the first book I've ever like read and finished all the way. So I'm very proud of that. Right. And I remember the major lesson in that book is the lesson of forgiveness and the power of forgiveness.
Mhm.
It's like you're forgiving people not for them, you're forgiving people for you. And
Mhm.
and I didn't know these energies and the energy work stuff. I was like 17, 18 at the time. You know, I was just like in a hurt place where I just felt like lonely, hurt, etc., etc. I was just very jaded. You know, excuse me. And I remember I read that, and that's when things started to shift. That's when things started to go better for me. Is when I started forgiving people who I thought hurt me or was like mean to me or whatever. Right?
Nice.
At 17, like what the fuck? Like what have I been through? Like yeah. 17.
Yeah.
At the time,
Yeah.
it's like emotionally overwhelming, even for a
Yeah.
17-year-old, right?
Mhm.
So it can be easy to be like take anger out and do something and go on a downward spiral and hate the world and
Mhm.
be mad at the world and get jaded, right? And I was for a little bit, but you know, um, it's like okay, as soon as like it was really hard. It's not like you do it overnight. It's like you got to go in your mind. And you got to be like you got to imagine that person, and you got to be like, all right, forgive you. All right, I'm not doing this for you. It's not. I don't accept what you did, or I don't. I don't want it to happen again. Um, but I forgive you, me, so that I can move on, so that
Mhm.
I can live my life.
Mhm.
So you do it for you. You don't do it for the other person. You do it to clear your energy out. You
Mhm.
do it so you can move up, so you don't get trapped in the downward spiral. And like how like in relationships, because you're talking about this, right? Like boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever, right? Like if the other person doesn't forgive, they still have that energetic charge. They're going back. They're going fucking back.
Mhm.
You're fucked. You're screwed if the girl you broke up with is like completely zen and
Mhm.
completely just fine and they're just like, you know what? I forgive you. I
Mhm.
forgive you, Haz. You're
Yeah,
okay.
she's
You know,
gone. Yeah.
she's
Mhm.
gone. She's not coming back. But if my ex girlfriend's like, I hate you. I never want to see you again. Guess what? Guess what? Wait for me on Valentine's Day, babe. I'm coming back. so so that's so that's how you know someone's truly moved on. Is like that energetic charge is gone. They forgive you, and it's like that's when you know the girl's gone. You're like
Mhm.
she outgrew you, bro. You're fucked. You're never getting that back.
Mhm. Mhm.
Excuse
Mhm.
me. That is a nasty cough. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's when you're screwed. So you can tell like she's forgiven you. She's moved her energy up. She's ready to move on to the next stage of her life. So
Mhm.
learn to forgive others, and like even if you hold a grudge or whatever, it's okay. But it's all about like clearing out that energy and just like okay, moving to the next chapter. And like it's gonna be hard. You just gotta fucking push through it.
Well,
Gotta do it.
that's good. That's like a big point, right? You said right there, moving to the next chapter. I think that's where a lot of us men can go wrong is we don't know what the next chapter is. We don't
Mhm.
move towards it. And that's why it's so important. And a lot of what we talk about is for men to be on a mission, to have a purpose, to be building, to be growing. And that starts with having like a vision of what you want. Where is it that you want to go in life? Like one of the things I do often is I look, like we talk, this kind of ties into what we're talking about, this whole process and moving towards something. When you look at it like, damn, when is it going to get easier? When is this going to happen? That's a real challenging spot to be in. And what
Mm.
changed a lot for me is switching that whole paradigm and going, I wonder how far I can go. Like, I wonder what's next. I
Mm.
wonder what I can expand into. I wonder what's going to come. And then that creates, it like opens a cap. It's like takes the lid off. And then your energy and your mind's kind of like just more expansive. Like, I'm on a journey, dude. I'm fucking going and I
Yeah,
don't know where it's going to go. I wonder what's out there. And it's not so like pragmatic and boxed and squares and need to look a certain
that's
way,
interesting.
certain benchmarks. It's just energy, moving, growing,
Wow.
expanding. And it's really powerful, right? And
Damn,
yeah,
dude, that's deep. Cause
right?
like, cause yeah, your ceiling of success goes higher, so now you're
Mhm,
able to go up more. And it's
mhm.
like that saying where it's like when the student is ready, the master will come,
Yeah,
like the universe gives you what you need, not what you want.
right.
It's
Mhm,
almost like you needed to go through that, and so you
mhm,
feel your curiosity, like you were talking about, like, oh, what else can I do? So for you to even have that epiphany, you had to sort of get screwed over or somehow,
yeah,
or like go through a
yeah,
period where you're like, oh shit, I'm taking L's, you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
And
It,
dude,
mhm,
yeah, go ahead. I was gonna say another thing with that, which is like that's where your brain goes into this like conscious non-resistant.
distance. Yeah. Mhm,
Yeah, that's when you're
that's
like
right.
you're consciously not resisting whatever
Mhm.
comes, and that's when you're like powerful. Yeah. Hey, by the way, your audio cut off.
Oh, did it? Can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you. Okay, there we go. Good, good.
Okay, I might have covered it up.
It went off again, bro. When you had it higher, it was going back. technical difficulties, people. We do this live, okay? You're watching this live, and when you watch live, you know things like this happens. Okay, this is normal. All right, we got this.
Can you hear
We're
me
the
now?
yes, sir. It's a little echoey. It's a little
Yeah.
echoey, but okay, you're back. You're back. Say
Okay.
something.
You
There we
got me?
go. Beautiful. We're back.
Okay, nice. So yeah, dude, like that conscious non-resistance is you getting out of your own way. And we're often, it sounds weird, like you're in your own way. Well, what does that look like? Usually it's that paradigm is taking place in your own mind. And so you're stuck. You're like, you're in this place where why am I not there? Oh, I'm so frustrated. I'm upset. This isn't working out. And that just burns energy and bandwidth. And then your brain stifles down and creates this very stuck, stifling energy. But as the example I just shared, it's like you're out of your own way. You're expressive. The universe is going to unfold mystery and unique things and opportunities. And I'm here for the ride and I'm going to be with it. I'm going to embrace it. Dude, it's actually this is in the Buddhist text. There's like a line that says like, to let go of all attachments, because attachments create suffering, right? Like, attachment to the idea of, I want to be married, right? Or I want to have kids. I want to have whatever it is. And these attachments, if you don't have it, create a lot of your pain. And so it's often better just to let it go and be like, I'm open to that. That'd be beautiful. I can visualize it. I can feel it. I'm going to do things to put myself in that situation. But at the same time, I'm unattached from it. And then you're looser and you have this more expansive energy. And
dude.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. So you tap into like a different part of your consciousness, even, it's like a transcendent consciousness that you tap into. It's a consciousness. It's like you almost like, I don't want to sound pompous here, but it's almost like you kind of leave the bullshit day-to-day humanity behind and you elevate to like a higher plane almost.
Yes.
I don't want to sound like that dude, like, oh yeah, you're enlightened, man.
Yeah,
well, I don't want to sound like that guy, but it really is the closest thing to it, because you really start to just focus on the thing that matters.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we think that there's so many important things in our life, but there's probably like maybe 5 things that are the most important. For you, it's your kids. For you, it's your time. And then, and the things that you want to do. Like those are probably the most important things. We could think like, oh, the fucking toaster, the oven, and this or whatever. I don't know. That's a random example. You can see all these things that are like, well, okay, you think they're important, but they're not. And same thing with like, in that mode where you let go and you're non-resistant, you just focus on the one thing that's important. And I get that's like you're present, you're just like right there, this moment, clarity of intention, and you just go, and that's when that's when you see the best art. That's when you see the best performer, the best sportsman. That's when you see Kobe dunk like 50 in one game or whatever, right? That's the place you want to reach, and you want to show your brain you can reach that. And it sucks. You have to go through some pain for that. Like you can only access that through the pain. I think there's a quote even. Damn, there's an epic fucking quote that I don't know how to say in the Hebrew language, but basically just this idea, it will be found in the mud or something. Like what you're searching for will be found in the mud. Right? So in my head, the way I interpret that is like people are looking for things in like a fancy castle and like some jewelry and like in like lavish things, but the real greatness is found in the mud. Meaning like it's the place you're not looking. That's the place where nobody looks. And that's when you're humble. That's when you're like, that's when you're like looking at a place where your ego doesn't want to look, in the mud. So that's what it means to not resist, because the resistance is, I want to look cool. I want to get validation. But as soon as you let it go, you're like, you know what? Whatever. I don't care. You're just like, I'm willing to be a fucking idiot. I'm willing to look like a fool. Yeah. And that's when you're in the mud. Yeah. And that's when you found it. That's when you find it. And damn, it's such a cool saying. It's like in a different language.
That's dope. I like that.
Yeah. It's like I heard like Jordan Peterson talk about it one time, and it's like it's like it will be found in the mud. I'm like, what does that mean? But I
Yeah.
thought about it. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Because, dude, bro, it's like there's a song too. There's a fucking awesome song, and I'll show you later. It's by J. Cole, where it says, "There's beauty in the struggle, ugliness in the success." You know,
Mm,
and it's like love yours. I mean, there's beauty in the success as well. Of
mm,
course, there's
mm,
always two sides. Two
mm,
things could be true at once. But
mm.
it's just this idea that you know the struggle is the beauty, the fight, the process. That is the beautiful thing, not the success and outcome. Okay, it is the shit that people connect with. It is that first step where you're fighting the fucking bear with a stick. You know,
Mhm,
like the Alex Hermosi quote we talked about last week,
mhm.
right? It's like that is the beautiful, that is the shit that we want to see. Nobody wants to be the fucking, nobody wants to relate to the guy who's like had it and he's just amazing from the beginning. He's daddy's money, got like nothing, you know? Nobody wants to be that guy. I mean, it'd be nice to be in that comfort. We think we want that, but
Mhm.
like what we really want is we want to become like them. We don't want what they have. We don't
Yeah.
want to be we want to be the hero. We don't want to have what the hero has, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm,
So I think that's the thing we like. We get inspired by is the being,
mhm,
the being that you're witnessing in front of you. Like, what is that being? How did that being come to be? Right.
mhm,
So that is what we want to imitate because what I see in front of me, it's a consciousness that have transcended
mhm.
whatever paradigm I'm in, and it inspires me to move towards that, like a fly towards the light, you know.
Yeah.
So so to me, that's what I imagine when somebody goes into that non-resistance, was willing to look like a fool,
Mhm,
humble,
mhm,
and it's just like open to the pain, just like
mhm,
open, just
mhm.
boom, ready. I'm ready to go, embrace the world, and it's like, dude, that shit's powerful, you know.
Yes.
I can't help but like think of like even like I'm not a religious person, but that's really what what happened with Jesus when he got put on the cross. You know,
Mhm.
it's just
Yeah.
like nothing but love. You know, um, so that's really the ingredient. It's
Mhm,
like being conscious of these things and like not resisting to what is,
mhm,
just embracing it, like the art of embracing, being present. So it's like
mhm,
very very key, and that's what I try to do these days. It's just more meditation, man. Like I
mhm.
just like, all right, time to meditate. Fuck everything else, you know. I'm just like, I gotta be enlightened. I gotta be better than other people. I gotta be, I just, So I'm like, yeah, I'm doing
Mhm.
it. So yeah, man.
Yeah, that's good, dude. That looking inward is so powerful, right? Where do our motivations come from? Where am I stuck? Where am I on my own way? And what am I avoiding? And that's a big one, right? Like, what am I avoiding? Where am I not answering the hero's journey, the call to action? And it's that I love that quote. It's found in the mud or whatever. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. I need to
yeah,
look that up actually and like show
yeah.
you the proper quote. It's
Well,
really dope.
one of the ones I use all the time is like the obstacle is the way, which
Yeah,
is true, man. It's like that's similar concept. That's where the gold is.
yeah,
Move towards those things, get comfortable with those things. And one of the beautiful things you find by embracing those parts of the journey is it actually deconstructs the ego. But that's what makes it so scary is we built up these little things and then we're like our ego is like, oh yay, right? And then doing the new thing crumbles it. But that's actually what you want. You want to do that over and over, like over and over. And then like that deep confidence, like you talked about earlier, that's when that really starts to emerge forward. Because
yeah.
then you realize, like, bro, I don't even need, you know what I mean? I don't need their applause. I ain't even doing it for the crowd. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
become one with you are the crowd, right?
dude.
You're the wave and the ocean at the same time. And then you're
Yeah.
fucking powerful. Then you really can do shit.
Dude, that's amazing put. Like, because it just made me think. Like, when you go on the journey, when you decide to answer the call of the hero's journey, you're really gonna experience the highest of the highs and
Mm,
the lowest of the lows.
mm,
Kind of like the ocean and the wave analogy, right? Now, the confidence comes knowing that you're prepared for both. When the highest of the highs
yeah,
come, you're not letting your fucking head get too big. Where
yeah,
you're like, yeah, I'm the shit. I'm the king of the world. And then when the lowest of the low comes, you're still not like, this too shall
all right,
pass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this
Yeah.
too shall pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love that quote, by the way. That's such a fucking amazing quote. Oh my god,
Yes.
you know,
Another
this
simple
too,
one that gets overlooked.
yeah, yeah. It's like this too shall pass. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're the fucking king of the world. You're Conor McGregor with the belt, and you got all this shit. This too shall pass.
Right.
And then they're the next champion, right? Or
Yeah.
like you're down in the fucking dumps. You're like in the mud, crawling, fighting a bear with a stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like your life is destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
This too shall pass, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And then you crawl out of that. And then that's when you're like, oh, I've made it through that. I made it through this. Now you become more steady. It's not like up and down, up and down, up and down.
Yes.
Emotions are like getting blown by the like leaf in the wind. It's more like
Yes.
up and down, but I'm still this fucking present, this
Yes.
fucking missile that just stays steady through it all. You know?
Yes.
And like that's the fucking confidence. That's the self-development. You know, that's the being you get into. You know, that's
Yes.
the challenge.
Mm-hmm. But that's yeah, dude. And that makes you really hard to fucking to beat, to fuck with because
Ooh.
you're not like scared of it's kind of like when you learn how to make money as a business person and you learn it through raw skill and different things. It's like, well, if you lose it all, you're like, all right, I'll just rebuild it. Right. It's similar because you're like, my happiness isn't predicated on the things that I have outside of me. Like I'm already happy. Like if you learn to be happy when you're poor, when you're struggling, when you're in challenging moments in life, you realize like when you get stuff, it doesn't change that much. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Right. So you're like, okay, like I was already happy, homie. But if you're waiting to be happy when you finally get the stuff, that's where you fuck up. That's where you just mess up.
Dude, that's fucking gold. And you know, just remind me of I know I'm like quoting a lot of people today, but this one is brilliant as well. This is Andrew Tate. You know,
Let's go.
regardless of what people think about him, whatever, right? One of the most awesome things he said recently that I heard, he's like, I'm a poor man with a lot of money. It's like the money never changed me. I grew
Yeah.
up poor in Luton, eating KFC, stealing people's whatever, you know the story, right?
Mhm.
Just eating leftovers and shit with his brother. I'm still that same guy with just
Yeah.
a lot more money, you know. And I'm like, yo, that is such a fucking banger line. It's like I'm a poor guy with a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that was epic.
I love
thought
that, dude. Facts. I can
like,
see that from him. Like, look, even though when you see like old Bugattis and these things, I'd say he strategically uses it to put it in front of your eye more than he does actually to actually like look cool. He's like already he's just him. He's just it. That's what makes like
I think at this point he's engaged in that place of play where it's like you're taking yourself seriously, but paradoxically, you're engaged in play, kind of like a child, you know, kind of like a 2-year-old. You know, if like a 2-year-old had the brains of like an adult male, what would they do? You know, so they're like engaged in play, being sort of, you know, provoking, kind of like, you know, like you have a little cousin and they like push your buttons and shit.
uh-huh.
A little kid, you know, they're just having fun. They're pushing your buttons, trying to piss you off. Even though it's like coming from a place of like, you know, trying to get you mad or whatever. It's like, it's still like the dude is in like a place where he can play. And that is a beautiful place to be. Yes. When you don't give a fuck, you can get engaged to play. You know, you're playing with life.
Playing with life, bro. Huge, dude. Huge. That's something I have to like remind myself often is just like play, bro. Just play. It's not serious, dude. It's not, you know, because those self-judgments can come in too. Like, well, why am I not here? Why do they have more of this? Why are they that? It's like, man, and here's the thing, dude. Like, sounds I don't mean it to sound douchey at all, but it's true. Like the higher levels you climb, guess what? You see higher levels. And so it's like of people. And so it never like goes away.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I make like this amount of money. Let's say you make $1 million a year. Well, guess what? Now you start hanging out with multimillionaires. And you're like, fuck, they're always doing this. They travel like that. And you're like, man, I got to get to that level. You know what I mean? It's like you have to really become just confident and comfortable in who you are and find deep gratitude in what comes your way in life while still growing, still challenging yourself. But you got to have that play, that fun, that acceptance of where you're at is really important.
Yeah.
Dig it?
That's big, man.
Well,
Super
listen,
big.
brother, we're right there at that hour mark. So why don't we let people freaking wrap it up? We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Haas, what's your Instagram account?
Yeah, so my Instagram account is coach_Haas himself. So I basically share, information about, if you're a single man and you want to go out into the dating world, how can you make that process seamless, easy, and get results quickly. And if you want to work further, DM me, we'll get you, we'll get you going. This is for guys that really want to take action, not for like dudes that are like, oh, entertainment. Oh, what is he talking? No, this is for a guy. You're single, you've got your money figured out. You're in a big city. There's a lot of people out there. You want to go meet girls? Hit me up, okay? I have the perfect strat. I have the perfect strategy. At this point I kind of do, but hit me up, okay? Cool. Thank you.
Oh, love it. And then I want to shout out for any guys or gals as well. If you run a business that generates over $1 million a year in revenue, or you're a top earning CEO executive who makes over 200K through employment, reach out to me because I have a VIP retreat that'll be taking place internationally at a special location later this year. So I want you to reach out, holla at your boy. We'll get you linked up with that. All right, y'all. Till next time. Deuces.
Deuces.